everybody, it's Emily at Arg Schooling, and today I'm going to talk about how I rate books. This is going to get rambly. I'm sorry ahead of time. I still don't, I thought I'd planned this out, and I didn't. I don't know exactly how I'm going to go about this, but I'm going to do my best. So I've been asked several times for my rating system and how I rate books. So I'm just going to kind of talk it out and we'll see where this goes. First, I'll say that I tend to give higher ratings to books that I'm really excited about. Like if I read a book and I want other people to read it, I'm more likely to give it a 5-star than if I just never talk about it. I don't know that I have a real system in place, but we're going to see if I do once I start talking. So let's start with 1 stars. I rarely give a book 1 star. I don't know that I've ever actually done so. Because if I'm not enjoying a book, I tend to just not finish it. I won't force myself through something if I'm not enjoying it, because what's the point? I don't hate reading books. I think I've only ever read 2 books, maybe, that I've given a 1 star. And those were books that I ended up hate reading, and I did not enjoy that experience, and I don't even want to talk about what those books were, but I don't enjoy that. So I don't tend to give books really low ratings, because if I hated it that much, I'm not going to finish it. So I don't rate books that I DNF because I didn't finish them, and I don't feel like that's fair to the author to give them a bad rating if I didn't even finish their work. So I don't do that. But I might give 2 stars. I do that sometimes. If a book is something that I could get through, so if I could finish it and read the whole thing without wanting to throw it out the window, but I just found it disappointing in some way, or that I just didn't think the writing was as good as it could have been, or that it went in a direction I didn't like, then I'll give it a 2 star. So those are books that maybe other people really enjoyed, but were not for me. The most recent book I gave 2 stars to is Unboxed by Brianna Morgan, and I went into this one purely because I needed to read a play, and it was the first one I found. It was short. I think it was 70-something pages long. So I thought, oh, perfect. I can get through that really quickly. It'll check off the read a play prompt in my reading challenge. And I just did not enjoy it. I found elements of it interesting, and so I was able to complete the story, but I thought it was going to go a different direction than it did. And the direction that it went, I thought was kind of silly and didn't really work as what I thought the plot was going to be. I don't know. I think this was one of those cases of people telling me this book was going to be great. It had really good ratings. And so I expected more from it than what I got. So, yeah, didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. But it just wasn't for me. So 2 stars. I tend to rely a lot on 3 stars for books. The 3-star rating for me means I liked it. It was fine. It was an enjoyable story, but maybe I just don't find myself thinking about it very much anymore. That's a book that maybe I enjoyed reading in the moment, but didn't really leave me with anything afterwards. Or maybe it was just fine. There's a lot of books that end up being 3 stars, and I don't want people to think a 3-star rating for me means it wasn't good. That's not true. A 3-star rating, I think, is one that I enjoyed, but maybe just that was fine for right now, but I'm not going to come back to it, or a book that I would not reread necessarily, but that I enjoyed while I was reading it. So I give 3 stars quite a lot, I think. So I don't think that's a bad rating, though. Then 4 stars are books that I really like and want to talk about and share about, and I want people to read those books. And there's usually 1 or 2 little things that I wish were different so that I could have given it 5 stars. Maybe I want a different perspective in that story, or maybe I wished this character had done this thing differently, or that the ending went a different way, or, you know, that kind of situation where, like, I liked the story a lot. I was drawn in by the characters and the plot and all of that, but there was just like one thing that I wish was different, or, you know, that held it back for me from being a perfect book. So yeah, those are stories that I loved, but were missing some key element. And then, of course, the 5 stars, just like, I loved this book, and I rave about it, and I want everyone to read it. It was perfect. So I tend to not want to give 5 stars so freely. Like, I'm always questioning Sarah, because Sarah throws 5-star ratings at everything. She's like, 5 stars, 5 stars, everything's 5 stars. And I'm like, why? You can't love all of them this much. And she can. But I'm pickier. I don't know. For me, I kind of want this has to be perfect in order to be a 5-star rating book. So for me, I think I tend to overthink it. 5-star rated books for me are ones that, like, you'll see me talk about a lot. And like, these are books that I will sit with for my whole life and come back to over and over. Those are the books that you will hear me talk about repeatedly, because I think they are so great and I want people to read them. I don't know if this video makes any sense. I feel like I've just rambled for like 10 minutes, and I don't know if it made a lick of sense to anyone outside of my head. But there you go. That's how I rate books. I rate by feel. If I'm thinking about a book a week or two later, a month later, a year later, I go back and I'll change a rating. Like, I gave something 4 stars, but I find myself thinking about that book way after finishing it. I'll go back and go, that's a 5 star. I don't think I've ever gone back and marked a book down, though. I'm trying to think if I've ever done that. Have I ever gone in and changed a rating to make it lower? I don't think I have, but I could see doing that. Like, if after thinking about it for a while, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought, I might drop the rating down, but I can't recall actually going in and doing that. So, I don't know. I hope this made some sense. I hope that answers your question if you were the one to ask me about this. But that's how I rate books. Do you have a system? Please share about it below. If you have a system that's different from mine for how you rate books, I'd love to hear about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye.